Okay, I'm going to start talking about Edge Code, PhoneGap Build, and lots of Absent. My voice is a little rough after a couple days of this, but here we go. So, a little bit about myself. I'm an Adobe community professional, Adobe education leader. I'm also the interactive software engineer for the University of Denver. And I'm author. I've written a bunch of books on things like Flash, ActionScript, and most recently EdgeAnimate, worked with EdgeReflow and so forth. What we're going to be talking about is an application that is a PhoneGap application that I built to assist the Wormwood Society. The Wormwood Society is basically a non-profit educational organization to help people better understand absinthe, the drink, because it is so misunderstood. And you might be wondering what absinthe is. Most people have heard of it, but they don't know exactly what it is. It's basically a spirit that contains 3 distinct botanicals. It can, and often does, contain more. And it's distilled at a high alcohol level, which is then diluted or tempered with water. So you take basically like an ounce of absinthe into a glass, and then you add a certain amount of ice cold water in order to actually lower the alcohol by volume level of the drink, but it also releases all the botanical oils and scents and flavors that are actually, trapped within this high alcohol volume spirit. So, what does the application do exactly? The application, we've called it the Absinthe Dilution Theory. And here's a little quote from the Wormwood Society about the app. Basically what it does at its core is it's a small calculator where you can just, at a party or if you're preparing absinthe for someone, specific absinthes have specific ABV percentages, and they also have specific, like a good point. Like you want to get certain absinthes to like 11.5% ABV, or sometimes 12% works, sometimes 13%. It all depends upon the absinthe itself and its taste, and your taste rather. So, people might do an absinthe differently depending on their own taste and depending on what particular brand they're actually imbibing. So this application is meant to assist the user with this task. And what in the Creative Cloud did we use to actually build this thing? We've used a number of different IDEs. I kind of switch back and forth between Edge Code and Dreamweaver. I do a lot of my layout using Dreamweaver because it's got some kind of nice things, and I'll show some of the things for actual visual layout and trying to imagine what the application would look like, especially when you're using something like jQuery Mobile, which I am using for this. But I do like to do most of the actual code inside of Edge Code. And of course, once it's all done, we zip it up, send it over to PhoneGap Build, and PhoneGap Build will process the necessary files for us to go through and actually get it on the store. So those are the Creative Cloud tools we've used. Oh, we've used Photoshop too, to make some of the assets, so can't leave out Photoshop. The frameworks that I use, obviously PhoneGap, that's going up to PhoneGap Build. We're using jQuery Mobile, and I also use the jQuery Mobile e-roller in order to kind of customize the look a little bit. It still looks like jQuery, but it looks a little more on task, talk about ads. I also used a really neat little library called HTML5 SQL.js. It's sort of like a wrapper that allows you to more easily make calls to a SQLite database inside of something like PhoneGap. And the cool thing is, it doesn't have to be used with PhoneGap exactly. You could also use it on a web application if you desired. Anything that supports SQLite will support this sort of a library. We also heavily use the Google Chrome browser and the Ripple emulator to kind of test these things out before doing this. So let's have a little demo here. And okay, cool. So I'm going to just kind of step through some things. My screen is drastically resized. The first thing I'm going to show is in Dreamweaver. Now I've got the same project right now open up in Dreamweaver as I do inside of Edgecode. So within Dreamweaver, the little kind of nice tools that I like when I'm doing layout in Dreamweaver for mobile development is using the split option. And the little split screen allows me to see the code, of course, and see the render all at once. And of course this looks a lot better when you actually have things blown out at 16 by 9 and everything. But it actually isn't too bad here, and you can choose specific sizes that you want things to be at. But where it really comes into play is when you also toggle live mode on here, because then it'll actually render all that JavaScript for you, just like it would in the browser. So we'd actually be able to click throughout the application and test it in this way. Once everything's laid out nice, I can take this and go into Edgecode. And this is just Edgecode Preview 3, so it's the latest one that's available right now up on Creative Cloud. And within Edgecode, you can see I've got my configuration file open here. This is what I really would rather like to use to actually develop an application like this, simply because I don't have to go through an Edgecode and actually set up a site as I do in Dreamweaver. And all I have to do is point to a folder, and it shows me all of my subfolders. It shows me all of the different files that belong in here. So for instance, I can look at all my JavaScript files. This one right here is all my kind of application methods. But then in here I also created a data.js, and this actually uses that HTML SQL.js that I was talking about earlier to do all of the neat database calls. And I'm doing some pretty cool stuff here. I'm actually detecting whether this SQLite database exists inside of the application. If it does exist, then it just kind of like moves on and just reads the stuff from the database. If it doesn't exist, it'll actually go through, create the database for me, and then I run this populate database command, where I've set up a number of accents that are popular here in the United States. And it will go through and pre-populate my database with those accents. What does that allow me to do? It allows a user to go through and click on any of those accents that are readily available here in the States, and it'll automatically switch the view to the calculation mode inside of the app and load in the appropriate ABV percentage for that accent, and then I can just hit temper. It'll calculate what I need to do to temper the accent properly. You can see I've got the normal CRUD stuff in here. Here's my read. Here's a little function to drop tables. This isn't actually used inside of the app. It's more just for my convenience if I want to drop the tables from testing and so forth. I've got a function to add a new accent, because of course people are going to want to add their own accents to this. So we can update accents, remove accents, and then a sort of catch-all for anything that problems might happen. And that's the core of the application. All of the actual views, since this is jQuery mobile, are handled within the normal kind of jQuery mobile page structure inside of my HTML. So what I do to test this is, you can see I have XAMPP running on here. So I'm using Apache. And that's basically all I'm using from XAMPP in this case. There are plenty of other packages out there. You could always use IIS or whatever. The reason I'm using a local web server to do this is to get around any sort of sandboxing issues with Chrome. I don't want to have to go through and turn sandboxing off of Chrome to have some of these data calls load properly or not. So I just go through and run everything off of localhost, and then I don't have to deal with any of that So inside of Chrome, this is the Ripple emulator. You can get it from emulate.phonegap.com, or you can just search through the Google extension, the Chrome extensions store, and find it and download it. It downloads as a little extension right here. So whenever you load up any sort of a website or any content into your Chrome browser, you can actually just hit enable in here, and it will render it for specifications you use for a bunch of preset devices that we have up here. It's called Ripple, and just emulate.phonegap.com to access that. The reason you use this, not only does it provide a nice interface and so forth, it also emulates certain things like accelerometer and geolocation APIs and certain things that you normally wouldn't have access to in the browser if they're not supported on your machine. So using this, I can actually go through and check out all my different brands. So maybe I've got a dose of Leopold Brothers absinthe right here, which is a locally distilled Denver absinthe, which is where I'm from. And I can go in and click on that and say, okay, I know this is 66 ABV because it's in my database correctly. I want to temper it to be 12% ABV because that's sort of the sweet spot for this particular absinthe, let's say. And I'm using 1 ounce of absinthe. That's my dose. So once I hit calculate, it tells me, okay, temper this absinthe with 4.5 ounces of water. I can then measure my water, I can put it into my fountain, I can put it into my dripper, I can pour it through my carafe, whatever I need to do to actually measure that water and apply the correct amount of water to my dose of absinthe. Let's say perhaps I wanted to go through, and maybe the sweet spot for me is 11.5 ABV. Because the aromas, the taste, everything changes depending upon the amount of water that you use to temper your absinthe. I just recalculate that and it tells me, alright, 4.74%, that sounds better. So maybe I'm in here and I want to add an absinthe. So I can go in, I can add my own absinthe by name, I can put in the ABV percentage, I can also put in different tasting notes. So if there's something particular about this brand of absinthe that I want to note for the future, I can put that in there, and then next time I bring it up, I can see that. It's a reference for myself. I can also edit, update, or delete any of these absinthes that I already have in my directory. So once I'm done testing this thing, I need to send it up to PhoneGap Build. I go to build.phonegap.com, I zip everything up. In this case, I don't need to zip it up because I host this on GitHub. So I can just point to my GitHub repository. I go in here, update code, it'll pull the latest version from GitHub. I can then click rebuild all, I can pop in my key for Android. It'll rebuild it. Then I test on my device, so I can just scan this QR code here. I can run it on my device. Everything works out fine. Great, it's ready for the store. So then I can go up, boom, it's on the Google Play Store. And absinthiers around the world can then download it on their device and moosh up as desired. If you want to know more about the Wormwood Society themselves, it's a great educational resource if you're curious about additional information on absinthe, and that's just wormwoodsociety.org. It's a little cut off on the screen here, but that's basically what I wanted to talk about today. So if anybody has questions, feel free to ask. Yes. No document parsed. No, and I haven't done a whole lot of work with PhoneGap and PhoneGap Build and everything. It's mostly been just my own experimentation, and that's led to, this actually started as sort of a test application, just so I could see for myself how to go through this process and do this, especially as a, as somebody who's heavily invested into air and flex and flash, and I I want to know how to do this in HTML and JavaScript and CSS as well. I want to be able to use these tools. So this was sort of my first foray into this. So, you know, if you go on my GitHub account and you check out the code, it is public. Don't be too critical. It doesn't have any optimizations in it or anything like that. To get back to your point, I haven't seen that, but, you know, it might be just because I don't have a lot of experience with it. One thing you do need to do, or that you should do, is have a little configuration file for PhoneGet build, so it knows what you want to target and things like that. You got that already? I can't say, I'm sorry. I don't know. But there's plenty of people out there who are using this, so probably somebody has the answer. Yeah. So any other questions about any of the stuff I talked about?
So was the artwork provided to you, or did you have somebody do that yourself?
So the artwork itself, oh shoot, you know, I didn't go through my Photoshop file. Since it's the creativity conference, I wasn't actually going to do Photoshop, but, you know, here we go. So this is the, most of the artwork is using actually Adobe Edge web fonts to bring the fonts down, and I'm also using, as I mentioned, Theme Roller from jQuery to kind of color it. The only real other piece of artwork, I've got my company logo on there, I've got the Wormwood Society logo on there, and I have this logo. And this is actually version 2 of the application. Version 1 of the app, I just kind of threw together really quick. This was the initial logo for it. Not a lot of work, I just used kind of like the butterfly from the Photoshop's, you know, preset shapes and things like that, and, you know, threw a little gradient on there, threw a little bevel. Not a lot of work, right? But for version 2 of the application, I wanted to make it look a little better. Version 1 only had the calculation module. It didn't have the database or anything like that. So you can calculate stuff, but you have to tap it all in every time, you know? So what I did for version 2 is I used, you know, if you're familiar with Absinthe, you know, history and literature, it's often referred to as the Green Fairy. So we have the fairy, and what I use for the fairy is Midge. So Midge happens to be an asset that I've used for over 10 years for different projects when I need something. It's basically a Barbie doll, and I've used it in animation demonstrations and some stuff for FITC the first couple times that I did unconference stuff at Maxia. So I figured I'd bring Midge back. I hadn't used her for quite a few years. So I brought in Midge from my archives, and I just kind of rendered some stuff on top of her. I gave her, she's unclothed, so I gave her a skirt and things like that. You can sort of see that there. And I used the same sort of wings and things from the butterfly from the previous incarnation. I just kind of polished things up a bit. So, Photoshop as well, that's basically where the art came from. A lengthy answer to a simple question, so. Any other questions? You can always talk to me. I'm going to play until like 10 o'clock tonight, so I'll be here the whole rest of the day. Alright, thank you.